Penguin Random House Audio presents Proof of Life. Let go, let love, and stop looking for permission to live your life. This is the author, Jennifer Pastiloff. This one is for my sister, Rachel. My I got you person since the late 70s, and the person who taught me that it's okay to choose ourselves. Instructions for when you feel lonely. Open the window and scream. When no one screams back, don't go see, as if silence is evidence that you are alone in the world. You can't use that quiet as proof of your forsakenness. Look for evidence somewhere else. Carve your name with a tiny fork in a secret spot. Something to touch when you need to remember that you are here. Then begin to sing and sing until birds land on the sill and flowers begin to bloom, until your voice goes hoarse and you piss yourself with delight at how off-key you are at made-up lyrics at positively, absolutely nothing at all. The best kind of delight. Then sing even louder until someone sings back. And even then, don't stop. Introduction. Do it before you run out of light. There's an expression mistakenly attributed to John Lennon. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. Alan Saunders is the author of the quote. Life happened while I was busy trying to write this book. Except it didn't just happen. It didn't even blow up. My whole life blew up, I'd say, like it was some passive thing that I had no choice in. I blew it up. And despite what I initially believed and what some other people told me, I neither wrecked nor destroyed my life. I expanded it. I've got to tell you, it can feel like the same thing. You get to have this is a thing I now say pretty regularly. I believe it, too. But for most of my life, I did not believe I deserved anything. I did deserve some things, of course. Guilt, feeling bad, punishment, things being taken away from me, etc. But as far as love, joy, ease, contentment, or any kind of feeling good, nope. Ever since I was 8 years old, I'd held tight to the fact that I was a bad person. A monster, as it were. For reference, here's how my monster got made. The last thing that my favorite person, my entire universe, my father, said to me was, "You're being bad and making me not feel good." Then he dropped dead. I took on that badness as a permanent uniform. Starting that July between the 2nd and 3rd grades, I imagined horns and fangs and scales when I looked in the mirror. I knew I had to pay for what I did for the rest of my life. I eventually did take off that uniform of badness and accept all I had denied myself, even when it felt like I was wearing someone else's life without my old uniform on. I wasn't. What I'm saying is that if I could do what I believe to be impossible, you can too. Oh, and it isn't impossible. I unexpectedly bought a house, then left my husband. After I bought the house. Neither planned, both complicated. Equally as complicated and unplanned was my falling madly and unexpectedly in love with someone else, then becoming engaged to that person while still disentangling myself from my long and very precarious marriage, which included custody of our small child and, perhaps most damning, at least for a person in California who wants to exit a long marriage, my being the breadwinner. I started writing poetry again, then teaching poetry workshops to hundreds of people. I switched antidepressants after years of taking Prozac and became a prolific painter despite not even being able to draw a stick figure. Then there was the incredible blow that was my mother's new diagnosis, Alzheimer's. It all happened while I was supposed to be working on this book. Some other awful S words of note in addition to supposed. Should, shame, stupid, sorry. When I first broke up my family unit, while it still felt as if I'd taken a wrecking ball to things rather than having created expansiveness, my old bad uniform unretired itself. I'd keep waking with the phrase, should is an asshole, on my tongue. Should is an asshole, and that is a fact, scientifically proven, by me. As if my subconscious knew I needed it and had been trying to put the words back in me while I slept. Before bed, I'd ruminate, do not do this, but if you insist on it, before bed is the absolute worst time to ruminate. On all my shoulds and should haves and should have nots. I'd mull over how I should be earning more money so I could afford to get legally divorced, how I should have known better than to think I deserved to be happy, and how I should have definitely not fallen in love at the same time I was exiting my marriage. This, as far as the imaginary time gods, ITG, are concerned, is a huge no-no. The imaginary time gods aren't real, but this doesn't stop most of us from adhering to their guidelines or listening to their drivel. We'll discuss these bogus gods more later. I try to swat it away like that mosquito who ignores everyone except me. And same as that damn mosquito, should is an asshole, kept coming back until I paid attention to it. And no, I do not find the mosquito love flattering or cute when people say, it's because you're so sweet. That is straight up mosquito bypassing. It had been years since I'd waitressed at the Newsroom Cafe, the trendy West Hollywood restaurant where I'd for years served veggie burgers and watermelon margaritas to celebrities and very important movie producers. I fell in love with yoga and how much it helped with my depression. And although begrudgingly at first, I became a yoga teacher. Begrudgingly because, although I loved how it felt to practice yoga, I had no desire to become an instructor. Until finally, also begrudgingly, but ultimately, thankfully, I went on antidepressants and was able to see how teaching could possibly be an exit route out of the newsroom. It was. I used yoga as a way out of my dirty, ketchup-stained apron for good by mixing the only things I thought I knew how to do and creating a kind of weird stew of yoga, writing, sharing, and listening. That weird stew grew. It simmered and became workshops I traveled the world with. I started giving keynote speeches, where I'd use my beloved sticky notes in lieu of PowerPoint presentations and wear whatever I felt like wearing on stage. I gave talks on authenticity and connection, on how we're all recovering from something, on invisible disabilities and mental health, and on being human. In other words, I gave speeches on making and being your own weird stew. My weird stew workshops were unique each time, but they remained constant in their focus on paying attention to your feelings, needs, and wants, as well as finding the voice to express those feelings, needs, and wants. The whole time that I was leading these sold-out workshops, I was excellent attending to other people's hearts. I, in no way, was in touch with my own feelings, needs, wants, or heart. The shoemaker's son always goes barefoot. It was something like that. In the lead-up to the eruption of my life, everything seemed fine. On the face of things, at least. Which is like saying, but you seem so happy on social media. If we want to transform anything, it is essential to go beyond the face of things or how they seem to appear, especially with regard to ourselves. We can't stop at the surface if we want to unearth or explore.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?